One, congratulations to your family. You have lived the American dream. You seem to have an incredible background, and I want to congratulate you. So let's talk about policy. In the education debate, is there any room for school choice in the Biden administration?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you for your question. So the president has supported charter schools, and to the extent that we make sure that those charter schools are delivering, that they're accountable to the public, that they're as accountable as public schools. And so there's room for charter schools, absolutely, but they need to be accountable, and I think many charter school advocates recognize that.
Anything beyond charter schools?
Well, I mean, obviously in the country today, parents have access to private schools. I think that's one of the inequities we actually have to recognize, that upper income families have access to private education, and sometimes those have much more resources than public schools.
Okay, so let's talk about fair share of taxes. What is the fair share? What should be the corporate rate in America? What is fair for corporations to pay?
The president has supported restoring the corporate rate to, I believe, to a higher rate. I believe it's 35%, but I should double check.
Is
28%? I'm sorry.
Well, let's get this right.
You're absolutely right. 28%.
Well, that's what Grassley says now. Don't let him speak for the Biden administration. Do you think 35% is a fair rate for corporations, or is that too high?
I would follow the president's policies on these issues.
Okay. What should the individual rate be?
Depends on the income of the individual.
If somebody makes $10 million.
I believe we should restore it back to 39.6.
Is that enough?
On the income, yes, there are other ways.
So is that at 39.6 is fair in your belief?
Well, my role is to address the President Biden's policies, and he is.
I'm just talking about you as an individual. Would you go up higher? Would the American Center for American Progress support individual rates beyond 39.6? You think?
My role in this, if I have the privilege of being conferred, my role is to address the president's priorities, and the president's priorities has been to restore it to a 39.6% rate.
Okay, so that's fair. Do you believe raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour will cost millions of Americans their job?
Actually, the most recent data on this, and there's been studies over the last few years, 2018, 2019, indicate that the minimum wage, analyses that have looked at 40 years of minimum wage increases have found that the elasticity rate is different than previous understandings, and that actually job loss rates are relatively low.
So you think 1.5 million people losing their job would be relatively low?
No, actually, what I'm saying is that more recent studies, I appreciate that the CBO looked at several years.
But you don't accept it. Do you?
Well, I think that the important thing is to be guided by facts and evidence, and there has been a discussion about more recent data being more.
Have you ever run a restaurant?
I have not run a restaurant.
Well, you need to go talk to people who have, because I think they'll give you some facts.
I would say respectfully, Senator, we should also talk to the waiters and waitresses.
Yeah, I think they want their jobs. I think that the tip, doing away with the tip wage is probably bad for them. The best thing you can do for a waiter and a waitress is open up a new restaurant and people hire you away at higher wages, because a new restaurant in town needs good workers. So that's the way I believe to increase wages. But this is why we have elections. Simpson-Bowles. Do you support a Simpson-Bowles approach to dealing with the debt?
I think the Simpson-Bowles approach, I think there are deep challenges with the Simpson-Bowles approach. I think what we should really decide is what we'd like to do. Do you support
that concept of trying to find a bipartisan way to deal with the debt?
Oh, I think we should try to find bipartisan ways
do you support
to deal
entitlement
with that,
reform?
But the idea of the Simpson-Bowles, I think there were some things that we found were not.
Do you support entitlement reform?
The president, President Biden, has put forward particular ideas on Social Security. One is to raise the payroll cap for people over earning over $400,000.
right,
That is an idea he's put
yeah,
forward to address Social Security solvency, which would also address the debt.
Yeah, okay, I got you. So real quick, on immigration. Here's what's happened thus far in the first 3 weeks. We stopped building the wall. We've halted deportations. We canceled Remain in Mexico policy, withdrew from asylum agreements with triangle nations. We eliminated advanced vetting for terrorists, reinstated catch and release. We're considering canceling the public charge rule. We're ending travel restrictions with countries with national security concerns. Do you believe that the sum total of these policies will lead to more illegal immigration?
I do not, and I would be guided by facts and evidence
Okay,
about
here are the
whether that will
facts.
happen.
So 178% increase in single adults coming across the border this year versus last, 50% increase in unaccompanied minors. So the fact that you don't see this as a problem is very disturbing. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman Bernie.